All right, welcome back to Conversation Convo Combos, and I believe Mike, you have a nice question for me.
Yes. This is
Indeed,
a very hard question. Extremely hard. Are you ready for hard questions?
I'm erect.
Alright. So, I'm gonna moisten you up
Oh, okay.
real good.
Yo, Diddy, hold off on that baby
Huh?
oil.
Um, so now that we're past Halloween and we're starting to get into the season of thankfulness,
Oh, damn, dude, I love Thanksgiving.
and this is a question that I have for you.
Okay.
What makes your mouth real moist? What food imprinted in your mind like, oh my god,
Damn,
this
my
was
mouth is
like
just watering right now thinking about the food.
like think about what food, and it doesn't have to be Thanksgiving. Anytime, what food have you made or someone has made that like straight up was like, oh my god, like it made an imprint on your life?
Oh, okay. Are you talking about like just strictly like Thanksgiving food, or are you talking
No,
about just in
food in
general? Oh,
general.
okay. Um, yeah, funny enough, it's pretty a basic meal, but it's arroz and salchichas, basically rice and the salchichas
Salchichas.
mixed with you can either do it with the rice and then you orange up the rice, or you can put the salchichas in the sauce, which is what I love with just the white rice. My mom used to make it for me. My dad used to make it for me. My ex made it for me because I told her how much I loved it. My like everybody that I knew, that when I told them that, they were able to, like formulate it and stuff like that. But there was only one person that knew how to make it, that it was just mouth watering, and that was, rest her soul in
Your
peace, my
grandma.
grandmother. Oh my god, dude. And it was funny because every time when I came down to Manchester, I would go to see family, and my grandmother lived with my dad at the time. She would always make that meal specifically for me. There would be 2 cans of salchichas and the tomato sauce and all that jazz. She knew how to season it, and then she would start making the rice. And I would just be chilling upstairs in my dad's room, just like playing video games, because he had his room and then he had the gaming room. He always had, his two separate rooms, and just be literally just chilling and stuff like that. And my grandmother would be like, Brian, like, come down. And I'm like, okay, coming down. And then she had like like big. I'm talking like these plates were like huge, and just a huge portion of like the salchichas and
Yeah.
rice. And I was just like, damn. And I would go to town, and then I would get food coma because she served me so much,
Yeah.
and there was still even stuff left over. And she was like, oh, do you want more? I'm like, like, please, like, if you give me any more, you're gonna need to roll me up there because I ate a
So
really good amount.
okay. So since we're on that topic,
Yeah,
salchichas. I know Ray's grandma has made something, either
similar.
made it or made something similar to it. Because it's like, I don't want to call it a hot dog because that seems disgraceful, kind of a bit.
No, I
But
mean
it's
it's
kind
it's
of like a
it's pretty.
sausage.
Yeah, that's what it is, because it's how they call it in um what is it, like Latin terms, or like English terms, it's conjugated.
Yeah.
So it's pretty much just like salchichas is sausage.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like stuff that like is just like very similar to like the name in English. It's just
Mhm.
like pronounced slightly different.
Yeah.
Um
I feel like it's a misconstrued as not sausage but as hot dogs, because when you first look at it you're like, oh, that's like Vienna sausages. It's
yeah,
like, no, it's not.
exactly.
It's like,
Yeah. That's what it
it's
is.
like, yeah.
Because you can go with the Goya brand. The Goya brand is always the best, but it's
Yeah.
always, unfortunately, it's always the most expensive. Now, if you go to Dollar Tree, get yourself a nice big can, and then sometimes they're already pre-cut. My ex, she always used to love that. She always used to love having it already pre-cut because she didn't have to, like cut it and stuff like
Yeah.
that. But the you would have to season it like to like the Pratique because they didn't have like the best seasoning, already like
Yeah.
right there for you, and especially if you weren't too accustomed to how the person's wants it, the taste, whatever like that. You had to kind of like finagle it.
Yeah, I definitely feel like I like a good salchicha with rice, corn, and good, nicely seasoned.
Another
And
good meal is the rice and eggs,
yes, rice and eggs.
scrambled
Ray's
eggs.
grandma did that all the time, and
It's
our
quick.
boys
It's
Ray's
easy.
grandma did mashed potatoes with eggs,
Hmm.
and I was like,
I've never,
I ate
I
it,
never even
and I was like,
attempted that.
so
That's
it was
actually interesting.
eggs, mashed potatoes, and you could taste a little bit of mayonnaise had been put in it.
Oh yeah, we do that sometimes because
But it's
it adds a little bit
so
extra
good.
flavor.
It was
Actually,
so good, and I
did,
was
did
like, dude,
I don't know. You like to bake, right? Correct.
yeah, I love to bake.
Have you ever done that
The
where you made your own frosting?
yeah,
And because I didn't know that you could
could use
put mayonnaise.
mayonnaise.
I had no, because my ex's mother, she did like a scoop of mayonnaise inside like the mixing bowl because she already put like the sugar and all that jazz, and then I saw her take out the mayonnaise. I'm like, mayonnaise. I'm like, why are you
yeah,
grabbing that? I'm like, is that
yeah.
even
It's
gonna
like
taste good? Like, what are you talking? Like, what are you doing? And he's just like, boy, it's like you don't know that mayonnaise is supposed to be inside there. I'm like, no. I'm like, that's. Are you sure that's supposed to go in there? Isn't it gonna taste like different? Isn't it gonna taste like awful? It's like, no. It's like
yeah.
it goes in there. It's like, watch. You're gonna see. I'm like,
And
okay.
you
She
don't
mixed
even
it
notice.
up.
You're like, it all tastes.
Yeah, she
like,
blended
you're
it up and like got it so, and she was like, "Here, I'm gonna let you go ahead and lick the spoon, and then you're gonna tell me like, do you even taste any ounce of the mayonnaise?" And I was like, "Holy crap!" I'm like, "Wow!"
Like,
Like it's so smooth.
yeah.
It doesn't taste like bitter. It doesn't taste thick. It doesn't taste like too sugary. It's like a nice smooth blend. It's like, mm-hmm. I was like, told you. I was like, wow. I'm like, okay. Well,
Mayonnaise is very
let me
universal.
shut up then.
A lot of people will use mayonnaise for butter and
Mm.
substitute for butter. So if you're making like a grilled cheese, take a butter knife, smear some mayonnaise on the bread, and slap it on the stovetop, and it'll cook just like butter because it's an oil-based thing.
I'm gonna tell you a funny story. I never even actually liked mayonnaise. I actually used to eat my bread how they used to call dry,
Yeah.
and my dad would always be like, it was like, oh, like he doesn't like mayonnaise. He doesn't like mayonnaise. And then we had a close friend. My dad's one of his close friends that would work at a sub place, NATO's
Yep.
in Manchester,
Oh,
New Hampshire.
NATO's.
Oh my God, they hook
Yo.
you up, dude. They hook you
Freaking
up,
Sierra's dad is in love with NATO's.
dude.
Every time he
NATO's,
goes up there, he's got to go there.
dude, they hook you up. But there was one day that he like he kind of I think he might have like kind of forgot, but I feel like he was just like he like nonchalant with it. And he was like, all right, and then I was eating it, and I was just like, it was like, wow, this is pretty good. This is like, oh, it's like, hey, what's this white stuff? And it was like, oh, it was like, I'm sorry. It's like I put mayonnaise in it. It was like, oh no. I was like, it's actually pretty good. And then my dad was just like, you like mayonnaise? And I was just like, I mean, I'm eating it. And he's just like, oh, it's like, so you do like mayonnaise? Like, what are you talking about? I was just like, it's like this whole entire time, like every time I tried to give you mayonnaise, and you never ate mayonnaise with like your sandwiches, and now you finally like it. And I was like, I don't know what to
But
tell you.
you notice as you get older, your taste changes.
Mhm.
Like I used to not like fish. I would completely like shy away from fish. Now I'll eat salmon, tuna, tilapia. I've eaten
Dude,
I've eaten
that
octopus.
tilapia, dude, it's very like I like the texture and stuff like that, but I didn't know the after effect because when I took it,
Brain function,
dude, when I took it, like I felt like I'm not gonna lie to you, and I don't want to scare you.
could
I
run a
almost felt like I
marathon,
had
your
like a
heart's
heart
pumping.
attack, and I was just like you're good, you're fine, and I was just like, why am I feeling this type of like relax? Like you just had fish, like am I allergic? Am I like gonna swell up? And then and kind of like slowly cool down. I'm like, no, wait a minute. It's like hold on. It's like wait, oh no, I feel like a little bit more awake, and I was just like, whoa. I was like, oh, okay. Because eating fish, it wakens up the brain waves,
Mhm.
and eating fish just alone, it helps out so much more with um the muscle in the brain,
Mm-hmm.
because it just fluctuates it, and then it allows it to like really just like pour in. And
Yeah.
I was just like, damn, okay, so this is what tilapia tastes like. And I was like, wow, okay. I never dabbled into like much seafood, because I was always like a little like like scared about it, or like a
Well,
little
you hear
like
all these horror stories of like, oh, like they got like all kinds of
fucking
diseases in it.
monster inside me.
Yeah, monster inside me, where you get tapeworms and stuff like that,
Yeah.
and it starts eating your insides, and it becomes like 30 feet long, and
Mhm.
they gotta pull it out, and it's like pulling it out, and it's like yeah, that happens if you. That's more of like if you're eating a raw fish, or your fish is way undercooked,
Yeah.
or you're eating. Mostly, you'll hear that from someone who ate what is it?
Quail.
Sushi.
Oh, okay.
If you
I've never
because-
had sushi. I've never had shrimp. I've never had crab. So I don't know what those taste like. So I definitely want to dabble in that just to see how it tastes. You know what I'm
You know
saying?
where
Like
you gotta
give
go?
it like a little bite.
you wanna dabble.
Please
in that?
don't tell me Long John Silver.
Long John Silver.
Okay.
Dang fly or something flew in my front of me. But now Long John Silver, I don't even think we have that down here.
Okay, so that might be more of a New England thing.
The closest thing to that fast food seafood would be Captain D's.
Oh, Captain D's.
That's kind of a quick, you
I know your wife. She loves seafood.
Yeah.
Because when you like showed her like the platter, and she was like, "Ooh,
Can we get it? Can we get it? Yeah, she freaks
I
out.
was just like, I'm like, it's just shrimp, and she was just like, no, you don't understand. I was just like, I guess I don't. She was like, you have to actually have the taste for it. Like you
Yeah.
don't understand. And then I'll always be like, you get her the platter, and then I'll be like, is she gonna eat all that? And you
It's
be
gone.
like, no, she gonna eat it. And then I'll look over, and then it's like, like a little bit like she's picking at it and stuff like that. And then like me and you were talking, and we're doing us and stuff like that. Check back in, and her gone,
Yep, gone.
completely gone. I'm like, holy shit! And she's like, I told you I was gonna eat the whole thing. And I was like, all right then.
And she's over here like,
Dipping
on
inside the
cocktail
thing, it's like trying to get
sauce.
every little crevice. She's like, She's like, no, it's so good. I'm just like, all right then.
Yeah. That's why I'm kind of like, I get it. I'm like,
But it's so
it's
expensive.
It is. But I mean, on the rare occasions that I do get it with the extra cash, I'm like, I don't feel any type of way because, like you said, she eats it, she digs in there and gets all that cocktail sauce, all that out.
So what
So-
is cocktail sauce? Is that like a mixture between like marinara and?
Yeah, I believe it's like marinara, I think it's vinegar or something, but
Because like every time I look at it, I'm just like, that looks like marinara sauce, but like there ain't no way that
But,
they're dipping shrimp inside marinara sauce. But I always like, I don't know. It's just one of those types of things. Like I don't know like where my like allergies are and stuff like that. Like my mother always told me that like my allergic is like skim milk and like silk, or
Silk
the
milk,
yeah
yeah.
silk and skim milk. So that's where I know that I like I'm at horseradish. Oh, really?
It's chili sauce, Worcestershire sauce, lemon juice, and horseradish.
Really?
It could also be a base of ketchup or chili sauce. Excuse me. Combined with horseradish, lemon juice, Worcestershire sauce, with an optional hot sauce added if you want a
little spice to it.
spicy version of
And
cocktail sauce.
I know sometimes they they give you a lemon if you want like squeeze it on there.
Yeah.
I've done that with when I used to work at the Coach Stop back in
Yeah.
Londonderry in New Hampshire.
Mhm.
They would be like, oh, like always like straight up like, hey, like like you've been working hard, like what do you want to eat, like free meal and stuff like that. And sometimes I'd be spontaneous because back then I was like lifting heavy and I was like doing like a lot of workout and stuff like that. And then I saw some information about like, oh, like eating fish is good for you and beneficial for your brain and like your muscles. So I was like, let me get like some salmon with some rice because I saw one of my coworkers, he was eating salmon and he had like little like dash rice and I was like, is that even good? And he was just like, yeah. He's like,
And then
no,
you
that's really. But he was
put that lemon
he
on
was
it.
he was also Hispanic too,
Yeah.
but he did a little dabble with Tabasco sauce
Yeah.
and stuff like that on the side, and I
Ooh,
was just
that's
like, all right.
yeah.
And then he was just like, yeah, he's just like, I'm gonna drop this a little bit on the side for you and stuff like that, and then like cut it up so they would fry up the salmon, get it all nice and freshly cooked and stuff like that. Gave me like a nice like portion of rice and stuff like that. I'll like cut it up and dip it into like the Tabasco sauce and then scoop up the rice. And I was like, dude, like, damn, like this is fire. But when I first tried it, that it's same type of experience when I tried the what was it, the
Tilapia.
tilapia.
Yeah.
Same type of experience. Like I felt like I was having a little bit of a heart attack and stuff like that. And I was just like why do I feel like so like energetic and stuff like that? And I was like, oh, it's like it's because I had fish. I'm like, oh, okay, so this is what fish does because it's a different type of like meat. Because we get so used to like us as
Protein,
yeah
that's
protein
it.
like eating like the red meats and stuff like that, like eating pork, eating steak, eating chicken and stuff like that. But then when you start tapping into like the fish, then it's just like a little bit of like a quick trick where it's just like switching lanes is like, oh, like now you're getting a taste of the like little bit of the other side, you know.
Yeah.
So
Um, yeah, no, definitely. I mean, fish is definitely beneficial if you like seafood. That's the go-to to try and promote, like you said, high protein and brain functionality. Um, and it's also good to take it and then go to the gym or take it after you get back. But the best way to have it is oven baked
oven baked.
because if you have it fried, then you're adding all that grease and those oils, which is defeating the purpose. And
Speaking of which, me and you, we have to go fishing.
yes,
Me
we
and you
do.
have to go fishing.
Sean said he wanted to go fishing
Oh, I'm
as a
down to go
as
fishing.
a tribute to his dad, but
I'm definitely down to go
I know
fishing.
obviously you can't go up in October on such
Yeah.
short notice,
Uh,
but
Unfortunately, I mean I can, but then we're talking about like yeah,
unpaid time possibly, and
yeah.
know.
But
Um,
yeah, no. Me and you going fishing, I think it's more beneficial if we go fishing on a kayak to actually be
Yeah.
out there. You know, what I'm saying in that experience. Obviously, wear the life jackets just just in case and stuff like that. But bring the speaker, bring a 12 pack out there, and just
yeah,
just like whine it out and just throw it out there. Obviously, not play the music like too loud so that way we don't scare the fishes, but like play like a nice like chill music where we're just like laying back and then because I know, like for me, when I was like starting fishing out and shit like that, like I had like one of those like Walmart ones where you kind of like bloop, and you drop it down and stuff like that. But I was still catching fishes, and then I actually, I was actually impressed by myself this time. So we went down to what lake it was? I think it was like Massabesic Lake, and I literally like freaking like carved out a stick and made it into a shape of like a fishing pole. And we had some extra fishing string, so I wrapped it around the stick, and then I grabbed some bait. Then I hooked it up and everything like that. Then I found myself like a nice like little quiet spot, and then like I kind of just like chilled there, and I literally was able to pull up because I know the tug. I know when like they latch
that
on,
feeling, yeah,
and when they latch on, that's when you want to like reel it in. But if it's a big boy, you kind of want to like let him like do a little bit, let him feed into it, kind of let him like navigate, and then you kind of like reel him in. And my my cousin, she would get pissed off. She'd be like, I haven't caught any damn fish and stuff. Like, you got to be patient. Like you got to let them come to them. You can't like just throw it out there and just reel it in. Like you got to wait for it to catch onto there, and you got to make sure it's like it's nice and like hold
into
onto
there,
there.
yeah.
Yeah, I
And that's
felt.
why exactly like you said with the big ones, you reel it slightly to get that in,
Mhm.
and then when they pull, they get it in even more.
Mhm.
So it's about playing the waiting game, doing the right thing.
I felt bad for one fish when I took it out from his mouth, and I didn't know that the water was so shallow and there was rocks there, so I had fish in there, and I threw him back, and he went hit the rock, and I was like, "Damn, that's gonna be one special fish come back." You're like, "Hey guys."
What's going on? Oh God, they caught him.
It's like, "Are you okay? Yeah. Where are we going?" This is like, you're best staying over here, Timmy.
Yeah, and it's crazy because people will be like, "Oh, you're taking animals and you're hurting them and da 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 da," and it's like, dude, like, what's the difference between me going to the store and buying the fish out of a freezer versus me going and fishing it myself?
I mean, are you gonna feel some type of way if you get mealworms and stuff like that, or you get worms and stuff like? I mean, it's the same thing when I was feeding my snakes. When my dad was a breeder, feeding his snakes, my dad had literally a whole entire fucking room like filled with snakes. We had our boas, and then we had the green trees. The green trees, like, you don't want to fuck around with those because yes, they weren't poisonous, but they had teeth like pit bulls. Like their teeth, I want to say like literally, like you're talking about like maybe I want to say like maybe like no, not 6, but I want to say like at least like 4 inches long, and that's like literally like clamping down on you.
Yeah.
But you're feeding them live. Yeah. You're feeding them live rats. You're feeding them live mice and stuff like that. Because the way that they break it down is that you have pinkies, which is like the firstborn state of rats. Then you have fuzzies. That's when they start getting like, the little like hairs and stuff like that. Then you have small mice, medium mice, large mice. Then you have small rat, medium rat, large rat.
Yeah.
There was this one time that I was like, I was in shock that there was this large rat that my dad was trying to feed snake, and it was like to the point that it was too active, the rat, and we were trying to figure out ways like how the fuck we're gonna knock this out. Like, you want me to grab the hammer? Like, I don't know what you want me to do. And my dad kept on looking around for like tools and stuff like that. He literally looked at the wall and he looked at me.
Right at it.
Dude, he held it in his fucking hand with the tail still on his hand, smacked it against the fucking wall. That shit was literally knocked the fuck out. And I'm talking like limp straight up. Put it inside the tank, and then the snake literally just coiled around it like it was no fucking tomorrow. Like, the thing with snakes is that if you feed them a large portion, that will solidify them for a good amount of that time. But if you give them small portions, then they're going to be hungry like within like, at least like a couple weeks or so. It takes them a little bit to digest, but they'll eventually get it down, and then they'll be like, okay, like, when's the next meal? Because they're all about heat signature. And then when they stick out that tongue, people don't realize that, but they're kind of like tasting the air.
Yeah.
And then they're kind of like frequencing, and they're trying to like figure out.
That's exactly how Anubis does it as a bearded dragon. Pretty much all lizards have that aspect of.
I think it's like a cold-blooded type of thing.
Yeah.
Because like they kind of like taste the air and get the frequency and stuff like that, because they can only see in a certain type of visual, so that way they can kind of like, visualize what they need to like attack or like bite and stuff like that. Because you have the person who's feeding you, and then you have the food that's given to you. But then
you said green tree?
Yeah, green tree python.
Yeah.
Well, there's a green tree python, then there's even green tree ball python. Some of those are nice. When I went to the reptile expos in Manchester, New Hampshire, they had some beautiful ones, but like, dude, like the prices that they were asking for, it was like the price of a Vigo. Like, some of them was asking for $1,500, some of them was asking for like $1,200, some of them was asking for like $800 and stuff like that. I was able to get one of my favorite snakes, and I wish I still had it, was an albino ball python.
Yeah.
She no, still to this day I wasn't able to really like dictate exactly. Like, my dad was able to educate me how to like sex them because you take the end of the tail and you push it up, and if it has like two little
Thumbs.
yeah, like two little thumbs, it's a male. But if it has like kind of like a verdict or whatever like that, then it's a female.
The same thing for bearded dragons. You lift up their tail, and you kind of lift up, and then again, two bumps, male, and then others female.
But my albino ball python was like the most chillest ball python you can ever have. Even the owner that was selling it to me is just like, yeah, no, very like chill, very like tolerant, like picking up and stuff like that. Eats very good. Obviously around the wintertime, but that's one thing with snakes is that they don't really eat too much around the wintertime. They kind of are a little stagnant. But if you throw it to them, they'll eventually eat it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because like they know for a fact they have to eat, and especially if you haven't fed them prior before winter, then they know for a fact they need to put something in their stomach.
Yeah, it's brumentation for
Yeah.
the lizards or reptiles, cold-blooded.
But it was like literally like the most chillest snake that I could ever. I mean, when my dad and I used to clean the tanks and stuff like that, take it to like the tub in the bathroom and stuff like that, clean it out and rinse it out and stuff like that, and obviously rinse the tub and get it all cleaned out and stuff like that. I would have like at least like 3 or 4 snakes on my bed, just like chilling, letting them do them. And then I remember there was one time that I was cleaning the tubs. I went back to the room. I was like, hold on, 1, 2, 3. I'm like, oh shit. I'm like, where the fuck is the fucking albino? Looking all over for it. Look underneath my bed. Looked inside the closet. I couldn't find it. I'm like, fuck. And then I told my dad. I was like, I can't find the albino. And he's just like, well, you better find it because like I don't know what to tell you. I was like, oh fuck. So it was literally in the most place I didn't even think it would go into. And it was behind my fucking dresser. It was behind my dresser, coiled around underneath. And I was just like, what are you fucking doing? You little bitch. And I fucking grabbed it. And I knew for a fact because it never striked at me. Never, ever, ever striked. Even, it would do like one of those little jolts back, but it wouldn't jolt forward. Never jolt forward to me. And I would be like, get your little ass over here. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? I'm like, why are you underneath there? You know your ass shouldn't be underneath there. And then put it back on the bed. I'm like, I clean your tank and everything like that. This is how you do me? You staying right the fuck there. Actually, matter of fact, I don't even trust you in there. Grabbed like a little secondary little tank. And I was like, I'm putting you inside here because you're a little too adventurous.
Yeah. But definitely, I'd have to say for a food for me would be shepherd's pie.
Oh, dude, because your shepherd's pie is so fucking fire, especially when we were experimenting.
It's such a universal thing because I mean, you got the standard, ground meat, whether it's beef, lamb, whatever. And then potatoes, and then your choice of vegetable. And that's the uniqueness is you just do potatoes and any vegetable. You could do just about any vegetable. Crazy. And then, I mean, I would experiment, like you said, I'd experiment and be like, okay, like tater tots are technically potatoes. So if I do a little bit of mashed potatoes,
then put the tater tots
on top when I go to throw it in the oven, boom, there we go.
Oh, dude. That was like the most delicious fucking shepherd's pie because we did the ground beef, and then we did the mashed potatoes, then we did the tater tots, and then I believe we did like spread of like green beans, carrots, mixed vegetables, and stuff like that. And then I think we added an extra layer of tater tots, and then we put cheese on top. And I was like,
I forgot one ingredient. From left field, mac and cheese.
Oh,
we put mac and cheese in it.
Yes.
The Velveeta, like
yes,
we mixed that in with the potatoes, so it was like a cheesy potato.
That's right.
Mac and cheese.
How can I forget about
that? Was
that Velveeta?
If you're trying to watch your figure and not eat in too many carbs, that was not a meal you should have participated in. That was
also the lasagna. Remember the lasagna that we did? Oh my god, that was crazy because we did we were we were so like out there. We decided to do the lasagna, and then we did Chef Boyardee lasagna, and then we did Chef Boyardee spaghettis and meatballs and shit
Yeah.
like that, and we went crazy with it. And I was just like, dude, like I'm so fucking stuffed, and that was like literally like one or two slices, and we still had a whole fucking pan. I'm like, I can't, dude. I'm tapping out. I'm clocking out. I'm done.
Yeah, it was. Oh man! And then one other time was when I was in New York, upstate New York, and I was visiting with my dad, and this was I had gone down for a visit because my dad had said that my grandfather wasn't doing well. Alzheimer's and dementia were getting to him.
Yeah.
So he's like, so I was like, well, I gotta go. So I had Sierra stay home with Serenity, and then I went, and so I went there, but we ended up staying at my aunt's, and she had made this dessert,
Oh, I know exactly what you're
and it's for children, it was Oreo dessert.
talking.
For
Yeah.
terms of adults, and the actual name was
Not for the diabetics.
not for the IMAX. It was better than sex. So, and it literally, you ate it and you were like, dude, like this is like, I gotta go back for more. Like this is gonna like, my blood pressure is gonna go through the roof. Like not blood pressure, my sugar
my
levels
God,
are gonna
dude,
go.
just
My
thinking about it
glucose is gonna
now,
be
man.
gone because it was
Mm-mm.
Oreos, whipped cream, cream cheese, and powdered sugar. I mean, the powdered sugar kind of like is a, an
Hit or miss.
extra like oomph to add sugar to it. Like if you really want sweet, but even without it, I normally will do just regular pudding, the Oreos and the cream cheese, and then the whipped cream, and usually that's already sweet enough. And then I usually top it off with like sprinkles, the Oreo crumble top. Um, but the base, you basically start off with, you heat up butter in the microwave, a couple, like 2 tablespoons, and then you take the crushed Oreos, crush them up. I use the family size um, Oreos, and then basically I pour the butter in the pan, put the cookie crumbs in the pan, about half, maybe a little more than half, and you flatten it out so that way all the butter gets into the cookie, and then you let it sit there, and over time as it gets cooled down and the butter re-cools, it stiffens up again and then makes that Oreo like a crust. Then you put your pudding in, and then your whipped cream, your cream cheese, and your powdered sugar. You mix that up real good,
Yeah.
get it nice and creamy. Whether you
Consistency.
want to use a blender or a whisk and hand do it, but you hand do it, you risk having some clumps. But I find it better. I personally like it finding those like clumps because it kind of reminds me of like a cheesecake
Yeah.
because it's like cream cheese and sugar and just and then chocolate, and you're like, ooh.
Yeah, because you're getting like those nice bits.
But yeah, so then you put that on top, and then after you got your crust, your pudding, your whipped cream, then you go ahead and do your cookie crumble top. You put the rest of the Oreo cookie crumbs up top, and then you can basically experiment from there. You can do sprinkles if it's a special occasion, like I did it for 4th of July, so I did red sprinkles, blue sprinkles, and it's already got white because of the whipped cream.
Yeah.
So, so that was nice. And then you could do chocolate syrup, caramel syrup if you want to do syrup, or you don't need to do syrup.
Whatever you want to like top it
That's
off with.
that's the joy of cooking is you don't know unless you try it,
Yeah.
and you won't learn unless you try it.
Yeah.
Experience,
Dude,
experience,
like,
and experiment.
shit, man. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Like, I might get the ingredients for you so that way you can make that again because, like, dude, there was like certain moments when I would be eating and I was just like wondering, I was like, is this like it almost like it's almost like a chocolate mousse
Yeah.
because it's so smooth and you're eating it, it's just like is this like an Oreo chocolate mousse because that's how smooth the consistency is.
Hmm.
But man, oh man, like that is just like it's so good. Like you go there for just like one slice portion, and then after you finish that portion, you're like Squidward, like I gotta have more.
Yeah.
Like it's just it's so
That's why I
damn
always
good.
get like a big bowl that way, and then I eat whatever I can. And when I get to a point where like, oh, I'm kind of a little, I'm satisfied, I'll take a couple more bites, and
Licking
then
the spoon is necessary
yeah,
in this concoction.
yeah. But
Yeah, that's oof that was a beauty.
yeah,
Still is to this very day a beauty.
yeah. But I definitely envy the Spanish community because I love Hispanic food, which breaks my heart because I love Tabasco sauce. I love jalapeno poppers.
Well, the thing is, like,
Uh,
we have stuff that's also sweet too. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So you don't have to like
Well, like
you have
what
to.
was that called? The thing you were telling me to make with coconut water or coconut milk. I think it was. Um, you mix it with it's like with alcohol.
Yeah. Um.
What the heck was it called? Um, I honestly can't think of it.
Yeah. So what you were talking about is coquito.
Okay.
So coquito is a lot of people make it like different types of ways, but when I first visualized it and I saw how it's made, um there's a specific way you have to do it. Um, there's you first of all you got to make sure you drain out all the white from the eggs.
Yeah.
Drain out all the white from the eggs, and then you using nothing but generally just the egg whites, and then you whisk those down until it's like a smooth, clear batter. And then I want to say like depending on how much you're trying to make, um, you're talking about like a 10 and 10
Yeah.
between condensed milk and coconut milk. So you're talking about 20 cans.
Yeah.
And then you pour at least like depending on how strong you want to make it, you can either do 2 bottles or you can do 1 bottle of Bacardi, depending on how strong you want to make it. But you want to keep on blending it. You add your sugar, maybe like a little bit of dash of salt because we always do a dash of salt just for taste.
Yeah.
And you keep on mixing it. You add some cinnamon. You kind of gradually do it. There's no. That's the thing when us Latinos when we're making our stuff. There's no like persist like measurement. It's more so like you kind of like add it to taste. You know,
Yeah.
you always keep on constantly tasting. It's just like it could use a little bit more of this or a little bit more of that. It's just more about justifying of how you
Yeah.
want it to like how you want it.
Yeah. No, I definitely get that. I just thought it was funny because I'm thinking back, like I always do this to you. Latinos, the way they cook, they don't measure, and I'm like, white people don't measure sometimes when they cook. I don't measure any. I didn't measure any of the stuff that I did.
Well, that's the thing because I never exhibited. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's just
Yeah.
not. It's not me trying to like portray it in that
No,
type of
yeah,
way.
yeah.
I think it's just like more of like on the fence side of like you kind of seeing like how like certain people because everybody makes food differently. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Everybody does certain things differently, and like you said, you don't know until you try or trial and error and stuff like that. You might make something too spicy. Oh, I probably should not put too much chili powder or whatever
Yeah.
like that. Oh, I should not made that too much sweet.
Well,
So
that's
let me
like-
cut back on the sugar or on the cinnamon.
Yeah,
you know?
that's like Gordon Ramsay. I mean, he always says, "Taste your food, taste your food." Did you taste it? Why would you send this out?
I mean,
why would you send this up if you didn't
it's the
taste
same
it?
thing. Like you gotta think about it like this. Like, would you trust a tattoo artist that has no tattoos?
Yeah.
Would you trust a drug dealer who's never even like smoked weed or anything like that? Would you trust a getaway driver who's never like fucking did a bank rob? Would you trust a fucking person who's selling you food or whatever
Well,
like that who's never even tasted their food. You know,
I
you
feel like
always
the tattoo artist is kind of like, I could kind of, a tattoo artist that doesn't have tattoos. You having tattoos doesn't mean that you're a good artist.
well that happened on Ink Master.
Yeah.
That's a show that me and you need to watch. That was on an episode of Ink Master. I forgot what season and what specific episode, but there was this one dude. He had decent skills. He did a good job, but he only made it at least until like I want to say like halfway or third of the show. But everybody was ripping on him, like mainly the judges. I mean, you had a couple of the people who were like competing against him, like, oh, like you're a tattoo artist, but like, how come you don't have tattoos? Oh, well, I'm saving my skin for like, I want to make sure I get a nice idea, which I understand because you gotta think it like this thing is on your skin permanently. You gotta think of everybody who has these stupid tattoos and shit like that. And like,
Yeah.
not to bash on my boy, but like he has like Johan, he has like a couple of tattoos that are like kind of like you look at it and just like, bro,
That's
like
fucking weird
like
shit,
why
or
would you do like the
stupid.
pressing of Sharyuken on your forearm? But it's nostalgia, so you kind of get it in that point. Me, I always forget this tattoo in the back. It's from an anime, The Curse Mark, and I always forget about it. And people, when I take off my shirt, they be like, "Oh, like you have a tattoo on your back too?" And I was just like, "Oh yeah," you know what I'm saying? Because you don't see it, and that was, to be honest with you, I think that was probably like the only one that was like the most like prominent out of all of them because it wasn't inflicting as much sun
Mhm.
getting impacted on it as compared to all the other tattoos.
Yeah.
But man, oh man, when the first day I got it, stupid decision. I was wearing a black tank top
Woo!
on during a summer fucking hot day. Just got it done. Literally just left the dude's place. And that's the thing when you're doing these underground tattoo places. They cut you a deal. They do the ink and stuff like that. It may not look the cleanest, but you can see the image. It looks fresh to death when it's first done, but during age and stuff like that, you want it to make sure it stays consistent and it looks clean. But man, oh man, when I got that bitch done and shit like that, and then I went to go walk over to, I was walking over either to a girl's house or someone's house. And I just remember walking down the alley, and then I was feeling something like beating on my back. I was like, fuck. I was like, what the fuck? And I was like,
Shit's being
I'm like, wait a
cooked.
minute. I'm like, that's right. I got a tattoo. I'm like, fuck. And then I'm trying to find shade. I'm like over here just going against the wall, and you got people looking at me, and they're just like, are you okay? I'm like, yeah, I got a tattoo on my back. Just, don't worry. I'll leave your porch. Because I'm just like over here sliding against the bitch, and I'm just like, hold on, I'm just trying to make it there. Just give me a minute. Because it was so freshly done, and that bitch was cooking on my fucking back, and I was like, fuck, fuck, fuck. But when you get a fresh tattoo done, you always want to take care of it like you do they always say do non-scented and like
Soap, yeah.
non-scented soap,
Antibacterial.
antibacterial type of cream, like kind of like like smooth it out and stuff like that. Keep it wrapped up at least like 1 to 2 days, maybe even 3 if you're really trying to be like very conscientious about it and stuff like that, which is understandable. Your chest piece, I'll be honest with you, you got a really fucking nice chest piece. That I mean, it's more than the fucking chest piece. You got
That
a
goes
whole
all the way
fucking
down
like
my chest,
look
my
at that.
abs, and my stomach.
That's a very fucking nice. She did her work on you, and the fact that you stood through that takes a lot. Like, and that's the thing with tattoos is the pain, and sometimes that pain is actually addictive. Because when I got this one, when I got my first tattoo on this one, I was just like, it hurt the first time because it was my first tattoo and I've never had it and shit like that. And I was like, okay, like that hurt a little bit. But sucky thing is, the fucking dude didn't even fucking finish. So it's just like, got this shit permanently on my arm. But now I know for a fact that I can get that bitch covered up. So I have a couple ideas. Then I got this one, and then I got that one. So this one, that one, and the one on my back, all done by the same artist. And then these two right here were done by the same artist. What I wanted to do was do a whole sleeve, and that's still my whole plan. Um, but yeah, like your body is a canvas, so like definitely like you want to keep up par with it when you're doing your maintenance of taking care of your tattoos, especially when it's freshly done. I've never really dabbled in doing color tattoos because, especially my skin complexion, I don't know how well it's gonna hold up. I know my skin takes ink very well, but as compared to color, I don't know how it would do. Especially in certain areas, like if I was gonna do rib piece or whatever like that, I don't know how well it's gonna do. So that's
Well,
diff-
and I feel like
different things.
kind of saying, oh, as a tattoo, like maybe that guy like wasn't, maybe he was good at art compared to like Joe Schmoes like me.
Yeah,
But I mean, compared to actual like high
professionals.
professional artists, maybe he's not like that top tier. But I feel like to make fun of somebody and be like, hey, like, how are you a tattoo artist but you don't have tattoos? Okay, well, how is a surgeon but didn't have surgery done on them?
Yeah.
That's
You know
kind
what I'm
of
saying?
that's kind of hypocritical. To
Yeah,
be like,
and it's just like I caught a little type of fade about that during the show because it's just like I mean,
I get their
you
point,
got some people who
but
like exactly how you're saying. It's just like you can't really like
force
or
someone to get a
yeah,
tattoo.
you know what I'm saying.
Like,
And then they even did it for shits and giggles when it came down to elimination. The judges got a little bit pissed off about that. They used like markers and shit like that, and they drew a bunch of like sleeve tattoos and shit like that. And he was just like, the judges were like looking at him, and they were like, well, what the fuck happened to your arms? Like, what's going on there? Oh yeah, no, I mean, I decided to like get like a couple like ink done and stuff like that, get a little bit of idea and stuff like that. It's like, oh, so are you doing that because we were saying stuff that you didn't have tattoos and this is what you're doing? It's like, oh no, no. I mean, it was just like just playful, just like joking around. It's like just letting you know, like that's disrespect to us for you to do something like that and for you to draw upon yourself and or you have people drawing on you because you're over here trying to make believe that you're having tattoos. I mean, in that show, they get really like Nile, bro. They
but my
get
thing
when
is,
I watched that show, it made me like really exhibit on like certain like very like pinch and pull. It was like Gordon Ramsay of tattoos.
well, and there's a difference between, you know, being invested in what you do and what you like to do, and this isn't a job, this is a career.
Yeah,
But if it's a career, then I feel like you should be happy doing it,
Yeah.
and not be so uptight and being like, you're offending me by doing this, you're offending me by doing that, oh, you have to do it this way. Like, no, you should be more like, hey, that's unique, that's different, be open-minded.
Yeah.
So because just because you're good and you're a judge and maybe you've been a tattoo artist for 50 years doesn't mean
that
you
that was
can't
my
learn.
pet peeve a little bit about the show too, because you had some people who were like they got skills. They have portraits of their work and their artwork and stuff like that. So it's not like they didn't have the capability. It was just like due to the time and pressure and stuff like that and everything that was going on. It was just like, dude, like you got a person that's tapping out because they can't deal with the pain, especially a virgin. They everybody when it came down to the fucking contest and stuff like that and what they would call skull picks. So like you would have a person that would win the competition or the challenge and they would be assigned to do skull picks and then they'd be like, okay, you get this, you get that, and whether the person was trying to be like, I'm out for you because I'm trying to win this competition and I know you're fucking good, I'm gonna give you this fucking virgin who's never been tattooed and he wants to get tattooed on the ribs. So I'm gonna give that shit to you. And then it was just like, fuck, bro. And then, sometimes the tattoo artist is able to kind of negotiate. It's just like, are you sure you want to get on the ribs? It's gonna hurt a lot. Like, I think it'll actually look better on this area. Some types of people,
on your back
yeah,
or something.
yeah. Some people are able to do like a little car dealership type of ideal and stuff. Like, there was actually a dude that used to work for a car dealership, and he was always able to finagle because he would always get they would always throw him a rib piece. They would always throw him like these difficult areas, and then he was always able to kind of negotiate and be like, "Hey, like
Why don't you get it here
this is what
instead?
I do, and I really think that it will look better on this." And they'd be like, "Oh, well, I'm not too sure," and stuff like that. I'm just like, "You sure?" Because the way that's scaling right now, it's getting like really like formatted and perfectly in this placement, as opposed to ribs. It's not gonna look as good. You know what I'm saying? So he was able to finagle it, but
Yeah.
it's just
But my thing is, I mean, so you put them in that position where basically they're one utterly screwed if they can't, roll a d20 for persuasion. It's like, okay, but yet you're going to take offense to someone drawing on themselves and saying, hey, like, I just did this to do it.
yeah,
Plus, who are you to tell a person whether or not they can draw on themselves or not? It's their body. And
yeah.
there's henna tattoos, which is basically essentially relatively drawing on yourself. It's not quite as excessive as a tattoo, but
Yeah, I don't know. Well, there was one person that was in. I mean, regardless, like you said, like doesn't matter how many years you've been into the thing. It doesn't
that's
matter
like
if you're
if
OG and stuff like that. But
that's like if I was to go in and be like, Brian, you don't know shit about custodians. I've been a custodian for like, 6 years, 7 years,
or 20 years.
yeah, or 20 years, and you've only been a custodian for a year now. It's like you don't know shit, so don't tell me how to move furniture. Don't tell me how to do floors. Don't tell me how to do this. Don't. That's just not the way to like be a teacher or the way to be like a respected person in
Yeah.
in your industry or
Like I
in
said,
your
they were
position.
they were harsh on the critiques. There was this one dude.
Well, I could see being like harsh on their artwork and being like, hey, like, you could have shaded this more, you could have did this more, you could have did that more. I get
Yeah,
that because that's critiquing someone's like artwork and giving them your honest opinion. But to be like critiquing someone on their physical appearance
yeah,
and being like, oh, you like don't have tattoos, then why are you like
yeah. I
a
mean,
tattoo
I feel like
artist?
in that ass point, you should keep that like at least like
That's kind of like
keep it
saying
away from it.
that's
Keep it
like
away
kind
from it.
of you see a skinny person and they come on to what is it? Not cook or not. What the heck is it called? God dang it, I'm blanking bad today.
Sorry.
Um, that Chef Ramsay's show,
Which one? The you're talking about? Hell's
Elimination,
Kitchen.
Hell's Kitchen, or whatever. They go in there and he's like, "Oh, you scrawny ass, you can't be in this kitchen. You don't know
Fucking
crap.
donkey. Yeah.
Like, yeah, you don't know crap about food. Like, I need some plump people in here because they clearly eat food. They know what food is. What does a skinny person have to do with, like, what does their weight have to do with it? Just because they're heavy set doesn't mean, or not heavy set, but heavy weight doesn't mean that they know more about food than a person who's skinny. It's like, what are you trying to say? They're anorexic and don't like eating food, so they can't cook? Like,
Yeah.
it just makes no sense. It's very profiling. You're
Yeah.
profiling a person before you know any information. It's like premature profile.
Well, that's the thing. This is like you can never judge a book by its cover. You can't judge a person by the cover. And there was this one judge that was an Ink Master. I'm trying to remember his name specifically, but I believe his name was Chris, but he was very about Japanese
Mm-hmm.
art, and he was very about the anatomy. Like how I always explain to you, like the posters right behind you. If I was gonna draw something that was anime related and stuff like that, I had to make the anatomy and the structure was absolute because I can't make her over here put her arms together and then something's not lining up. It just wouldn't pass the judges. If he if he had the arm over her
Mm-hmm.
and for some reason it was looking more wonky and it was going out there
Mm-hmm.
and it wasn't as supposed to be as more stern as like a personality wise or whatever like that, instantly they would look at that and they'd be like first of all the aesthetics are off, secondly your outline isn't as bold as it's supposed to be, your coloring it could be a little bit more bold, it seems a little patchy. Like dude, they were nitpicking at the heart, which I understand because it's on the person forever. But at the same time, if you look at the progress report and you look at the person, what they've done in the past couple
Their
years,
history,
especially the
yeah.
past challenges within the show, what I'm saying,
Mm-hmm.
that's what they always dictate as. And then when it leads up to it, like towards like the final moments and stuff like that, that's what they always look upon is that progress report, like you failed this challenge, and we keep on seeing you like at elimination and stuff like that. Like, I'm sorry, man, like we gotta let you go. But they were they were always very about bold lines, making sure that it was very identified, not patchy colors. You want to make sure that it's very bold and clear, and it was readable.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Which is it's understandable. If I looked at you and I didn't know who the fuck you were, but you took off your shirt and then you had the fairy tale thing, and then I was able to identify, oh, okay, that's a fairy tale. But then, like, if you had like some type of artist that didn't know what the fuck they were doing, and then they had it wonking over there where they were like that, you'd be like, is that a tribal mark? What was the whole aesthetic? What was the
Yeah.
whole idea of the same thing? Like if you're going to do a fucking dragon, like a Japanese dragon, you got the whole body going like this, but just because you have the wave like this doesn't mean you can't focus on the arms, the legs, and the beard and the little nostrils and stuff like that. You have to take that into accountability, because again, you're putting this on someone's body that's going to be forever, and then if they're going to get rid of it, then you're talking about laser, removal, and
Which
that's
is a lot,
painful
yeah,
in
more
itself,
painful.
but it's also money upon itself. Granted, you come onto the show and you got these people who are like canvases and stuff like that, and they're getting a tattoo for free. But you gotta understand that it's a challenge, so you don't know if it's gonna be the best. You don't know if it's gonna be the worst. It's kind of like a roll of a dice, and like
Yeah.
we'll see what's happened. There's been fights that's happened on that show. There's been fights that happen between
Yeah, I've
judges
seen
and
where
shit
it's
like
like,
that.
what did you tattoo on me? Like, you tattooed, like, a freaking, I'm trying to remember what the heck
Oh,
the
it was
lady said.
yeah. It was on the
Yeah.
yeah. It was they call it the tramp stamp, but.
Mhm.
Believe it or not, I will say like he actually had a good tattoo overall her whole fucking body. I will give him that because half the tattoos this bitch had on her body was like dude, he literally said it to the judges like I'll be honest with you, like I probably have like the best tattoo on her fucking body hands down. And then she came in and they were like, oh well, we have her here and stuff like that for like also because they like to bring in the contestant or
Yeah.
like the canvas so that way they could kind of like talk about and speak their piece, kind of like a little extra verdict. And she was like talking shit and stuff. It was like, oh, like you ruined my back and da 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 and stuff. And he's like, to be honest, he was like, I did the best tattoo on you that's on your whole entire body. Even the judge even admitted it, and he. Oliver, who's an OG, and he's talking about like a mustache like this, and he's been in the game for fucking 20 years. 20 fucking years. And he even admitted, he was like, yeah. He was like, I'll be honest with you, like, that's probably the best tattoo that she actually has on her whole entire body because she didn't have a lot of tattoos, but she had like certain areas where you were just like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah.
Like seriously, like, why the fuck would you even put that on your body? But,
Yeah.
hate to cut it right there, but that is gonna do it for conversation convo combos, and we will be back at you sooner or later.
Peace.